Welcome back to another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Thanks to all of our sponsors for sticking with us through the thick and the thin. We have made it back to NFL football on this edition. We talk Aaron Rodgers. We talk the Chiefs and the Lions. A great contest between Miami and LA. Plus, a look around week one, bouncing back and forth, and then wrapping up with the Kirby on Sports PickEm. It all comes your way next, and you are listening to the week one recap, the Kirby on Sports podcast. I'm so glad it's back and we're not wasting any more time. He was not here last week. He's here this week. The weapon, Dan Demski. Dan, happy football.
What's good? Happy football, man. Yeah, it's finally back. We've been waiting so long, suffering through the preseason. Not suffering, but it's not the same. And yeah, the regular season is with us. And boy, was it a crazy week one in the National Football League.
It was a crazy.
Can't wait to go through it with you guys.
Absolutely. And I think this is the first week where we don't have to ask Carlos the Swiss Army knife if he is foregoing his fandom of one of his teams, because the Cowboys absolutely pounded the Giants on Sunday night. So, Carlos, how you feeling, buddy?
You didn't introduce me correctly. You did not introduce me correctly.
Carlos, the Swiss Army knife, Martinez.
I mean, better, but you still forgot. You still forgot the key fact.
He's the reigning champ.
Oh yeah,
he is the reigning, defending, undisputed Kirby on Sports Pick'em's champion, and currently still in first place.
5.
Carlos, the Swiss Army knife, Martinez.
Yeah,
gentlemen, happy football. Happy football. I'm glad
and correction. You only asked me that question last year. The year before that, we had that great game against Tampa Bay, where we almost beat them. But we still lost. But we didn't have to ask that question. So
that's true. It's a good point. This man remembers. He's like a turtle.
At least after week one, we don't have to worry about that.
This is the first week one in forever where the Dallas Cowboys came out with the win. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There you go.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, let's get this started. Huge news. Aaron Rodgers played 75 seconds on Monday Night Football, and his season is unfortunately over after confirming earlier today, as we're recording, that Aaron Rodgers has suffered a full torn Achilles. He is out for the season. Obviously, you don't want to see that, but being Aaron Rodgers and his age, most certainly maybe thinking career ender right there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a tough rehab for anybody. It's a tough rehab for an athlete that's 23 years old, much less someone sorry. See what happens when I take a week off? I just forget how to talk, and so that's all right. I'll get it back. Yeah, it's difficult, like you said, Kirby, for someone of his age, and I can't recall any. how many, if he's had any other major injuries in his career. I'm sure he's had a couple, but
nothing leg related. Everything
yeah,
has been
nothing.
collarbone,
Collarbone
clavicle.
is what I was thinking of. Yeah,
Nothing. I mean, he had the calf issue last year, and he had the calf issue going into preseason,
But
which a
not like
lot of
this.
people are attributing to why the Achilles gave out, because it's the same thing that happened to Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals when he ruptured his. He had the calf injury beforehand, came back a little too early, a little too soon, and ruptured his Achilles.
And that's the other thing too. Like it's a long timetable to get back. It's a long
Takes like a
timetable to recover, to rehab, and not only that, to get back to football speed and full contact again. It's. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's a long shot. I think at this point in stage of his career. But just knowing how competitive Aaron Rodgers is, knowing how he is, I think he's going to do everything in his power to try to get back, to try to at least give it one more shot, whether it's with the Jets or another organization. I think, obviously, it's just crazy. I mean, all offseason, it's just the hype and the build up to this moment, just to have it end in that way. And Carlos and I, and you as well, Josh, we're all talking about how it's sort of like a dark comedy type of situation where, it's all built up for one play or two plays, whatever it was, and it's all over. I mean, at least from the looks of it now, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Mind-boggling just because of who it happened to, like
the person is, yeah.
Station more like the Jets. Like, this franchise is cursed, man. Like, they truly cannot catch a break. They finally get the guy who they think is going to lead this team and take him to the next level, and he doesn't even complete a pass. Goes 0 for 4, ruptures his Achilles, and that's it. Like, and the fact that they traded what Kirby told us off air is now going to amount to a second round pick because he didn't play 70% of the snaps this season, or he's not going to. Yeah, it's just like, it's just crazy. Like, the whole saga that ensued for him to get to New York. He gets to New York. There's all this hype. There are people predicting they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. And it just ends so really, like, this is how it's going to go. We're not even going to get to actually see what this team could have looked like. And it'll just be interesting to see what Aaron Rodgers' decision is. Obviously, first and foremost, it's about, okay, he's got to get healthy anyways. He's got to rehab that injury either way. But then the question is going to be, does he want to come back to football at 41 years of age, basically, because he turns 40 here. He'll be 41 during next season. And, it like you said, Dan, it's not an easy injury to come back from. I mean, and when you think of of players that have suffered this injury, Kevin Durant had it in his 20s. Kobe Bryant had ruptured his Achilles in his early 30s, or his mid 30s, more like. He was 34 when he did his. Aaron Rodgers is 39. He's going to be 40 here in a few weeks. Like, it's different. Now, obviously, of course, you can point to, oh, well, Dan Marino, had the same injury, and he came back and he played three more seasons after that. And, sports medicine is at a completely different place than it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure if Aaron Rodgers wanted to, he could easily come back and do it. But the question is, does he want to? Does he need to? Does he have to?
It's a good point. And you brought up Kobe. I just want to say, and he was completely different after that injury. He lost.
Well, he was already on the twilight of his career, Mike.
True. Yeah, but it's a career shifter, I think, for most guys. Unless, like you said, with Kevin Durant, obviously he had it when he was so young. It's a little bit of a different story. But yeah, it's not just a career changer. I think it's a life-changing injury too. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen.
Well, the way, so I obviously it's the topic of the town. So I was talking to some other people around today, and the way it's been said to me is, like, basically he's got to relearn how to walk again. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not an injury that you just just come back from in like 2 weeks. You're on your feet and you're able to walk. Like, he's literally going to have to reteach the muscles in his leg how to handle the stress of walking, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And another thing is, again, the examples I brought up, those are basketball players. We're talking about football. Football is a totally different sport than basketball.
Yep.
In terms of physical contact and everything. And I guess, I mean, what do you guys think about the whole artificial turf argument that's been going around?
Well, I know that they still have artificial turf on MetLife in MetLife Stadium, but I'm pretty sure they made some alterations to it. It's a different turf than they've had issues with in the past. But yeah, I think artificial turf needs to go. And throughout the National Football League, I think we've seen so many injuries over the years of guys with especially ACL injuries and Achilles injuries and just leg injuries in general, lower, knee injuries and things like that. So it's time. I mean, there has to be some studies that have gone on to show, the difference between, using, real grass and artificial turf or some sort of composite, which I think they changed MetLife to the composite where it's like a little bit of both, but it's dangerous stuff. And I think, when do you say enough is enough is my question, because it's not an issue of money. The National Football League has,
I mean, they're billionaire owners; they could afford it.
They have more money than
and another. I mean, David Bakhtiari made the point, of course, on Twitter about it. But obviously, the World Cup is coming in 3 years, basically, or I guess 2.5 years at this point. The World Cup will be here, and they're going to be playing a lot of these games in these stadiums, and they're already putting millions of dollars to retrofit these stadiums to be able to handle natural grass, because FIFA only plays their, official FIFA sanctioned matches are only played on natural grass. So like, if the United States are in a World Cup qualifying match and they got to play in Seattle, they have to lay natural grass on top of that turf. And, but so the soccer world, at least in terms of over there in, across the pond, none of their stadiums have turf. All of their stadiums are natural grass. And it's because they are willing to put in the money to, obviously take care of it. And, obviously there's a lot more money to take care of natural grass than, say, turf, and I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of teams go with turf is either because they play in a cold environment and it's easier to heat up or whatever, or, or it's just maintenance wise, it's just easier.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm not saying that switching it to natural grass is going to be the cure all to all injuries, because major injuries happen all the time in soccer as well, on natural grass. It just happens. But in terms of just being easier on, players, like, tissue, ACLs, whatever, joints, everything, I think you have to do it. Football was not made to be played on this fake type of rubbery, bouncy grass. I mean,
nope.
The only experience, I've had with turf is, when me and Kirby used to, work for the Shenandoah football team, we would go to Hanley, and at Liberty, high school, they had, the turf fields, and, it's so bouncy. It's so not natural. It doesn't feel right. And then you go to like the weirdest feeling field was down at Louisa. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Louisa? Yeah.
Louisa.
They had a Bermuda grass field, and it just feels weird, but it feels like you're supposed to be on this. It doesn't feel bouncy. So I guess I don't know, man. The argument with turf, I mean, I think you're right. There's got to be some study out there that
I'm sure there is,
that has the information.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's just proven. Look, if the biggest teams in the world in terms of soccer, over on the other side of the pond, are like, no matter what, it's all grass. It has to be natural grass. There's got to be something to that, because these guys have been doing this way longer than the NFL ever has been around.
But my thing with the turf argument, I mean, yes, Carlos, we've walked on turf. It has an interesting feeling. To be honest, like, when I go out there, I like just running, pretending like I'm making a football catch, but it's not like I'm going out in full pads. So I can't really say whether, but if these players don't like it, I'd say, because these players are more experienced than myself, who's never put on pads and played it down a football, but I've heard this turf argument for a while, and I get where you're coming from too, Carlos, and the fact that it just feels bouncy, not right. And I mean, you saw it in the Jets game and the Giants game too, when it was raining as well, when you get sacked and stuff, you have that those rubber pellets just on your helmet, on Daniel Jones's face mask, because the Dallas defense, obviously, but
hit him
still,
a lot.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, that turf, I mean,
you have to change.
I mean,
you have to change how you run. I mean, and plant, because
I mean, but here's the counter argument. We talk about FedEx Field. How many injuries have happened at FedEx Field? And they're a natural grass stadium. So you can make the argument of, well, it doesn't matter. If an injury is going to happen, it's going to happen, right?
Or what kind of grass?
But there's the thing, right? There's the point right there, Kirby. Is like, okay, but it depends on how good your grounds crew is, how good they are at maintaining the field, because
their field has been known to be in rough shape when those
and of course
happen, like the RG3 injury.
Yeah, I mean, they replaced it all a few years ago, right?
They might be able to fix that with new ownership coming in. Just want to throw that out.
Well, but remember, they replaced it under Dan Snyder. Like, I think it was either last year or the year before.
Yeah,
like they just recently changed the type of grass that you guys used in that stadium, and as far as I'm concerned, it holds up a lot better.
I think so. And but also it takes an injury to. I'm not going to say Rodgers is the face of the NFL, but this offseason he certainly has been that. It sort of takes an injury like this for people to start having that conversation and to say, you know, how many players are going to get hurt, and for people to really start to pay attention to it. If it's just players that, you know, are not that notable, okay, then the NFL is not going to take notice. But if their star players keep getting injured, especially on turf fields, there's going to be a lot of discussions as to, we need to make a big change here. Something's got to give. And the last thing you want is for, you know, your big name players to keep getting hurt. I don't think it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm not going to predict any of that stuff. No one knows. But this could be it could be a big decision coming from the NFL. I think because of the Rodgers injury, whether you love him or hate him, which I think is part of the reason why he's Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah. So before we move on here, just obviously the injury, we don't know how it's going to play out long term for Aaron Rodgers because of how significant an injury in ACL is. But now looking,
wait, what?
Achilles.
Yeah, Achilles, not ACL.
I said ACL, didn't I? Oh my gosh!
Because that's normally what we're used to talking.
That's usually what it is.
Yeah, it's usually what it is. We never.
It feels like this season might be the season of the Achilles, because we've already got 2 players with Achilles injuries.
Oh my! But anyways, just looking before we wrap this segment up, it's Aaron Rodgers is out now. Zach Wilson back QB1, and Robert Saleh made it known that Zach Wilson is going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, but what else is he supposed to say? Right?
Yeah. Why was that?
We're gonna look at our options.
Why was that a story today? This just goes to show you the obsession with the Jets. It's just
well, who knows? I saw out there something about like Colin Kaepernick's agents are reaching out. I'm like,
Kaepernick was interested. It's not going to happen.
That train is gone, dude. That train is gone. Like, it's been
He's
so
been out of the
long.
league for 8 years now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That train is gone. Like,
it's time to move on.
I mean, irrelevant.
Obviously, what happened to Colin Kaepernick was a travesty in terms of how he basically got blackballed by the NFL.
I agree.
But at this point, dude, like,
just give it a rest.
Like, it's over. Like,
if it was a year or two later, I mean, okay, and he was, that's one thing, but it's too far gone.
But just looking at all the speculation, could they not pick up a quarterback? But as it stands right now,
maybe
Zach Wilson from.
My God, is that Carson Wentz's music?
I heard rumors about Carson Wentz too.
I mean, he's available. So is Nick Foles. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't sign Carson Wentz because I think Carson Wentz is a terrible quarterback. I think, this team is so talented though. Like, that's the crazy thing about it.
And the funniest thing is they beat the Bills. Beyond everything.
They beat the Bills last year. Like, this is like, when it's a division opponent, it's different, right? Like, if this was like the Jets, beating, I don't know who's like they beat the 49ers or something, right? A team that they don't normally play, that they don't know normally. And also it's week 1 too. Like to me, it's like this team knows Buffalo. They play Buffalo more often than than most teams. So, and on top of that, Josh Allen was just god awful in this game.
He was bad. He was really bad.
Oh God, it was so bad. But to me, it's like, yeah, this team is super talented. But I don't know. Okay, how far has Zach Wilson progressed? Under Aaron Rodgers.
How much can you? I mean, in this.
I mean, that's the thing. Like how last year it was about how frustrated that that Jets defense is special, and they were so frustrated at how they were keeping New York in games, but then Zach Wilson would throw it away basically.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they have to turn back to him after basically turning away from him because and going out and getting a different quarterback, and now. Like that's why like this whole story of Robert Saleh saying, that he's the number one. What else are they supposed to say? They have to give this kid some confidence here because,
he was their guy. He was the guy they drafted.
Yeah, he was their guy, and then he was not their guy. So,
yep. Agreed.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see, but obviously you hate to see an injury to someone like that with so much hype. And something that I just remembered that I wanted to speak about here was the fact that the Jets have 5 primetime games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously in thoughts that Aaron Rodgers was going to be their quarterback.
Now they're talking obviously flex scheduling between certain weeks could change that. So
probably have some better matchups you could stick in there, I'm sure.
But just looking at the schedule with Aaron Rodgers out, it's like, my gosh, 5 primetime games.
That's why the NFL needs to, I mean, obviously they probably have a contingency plan in place now, but they need to have one every season because it's bound to happen.
They need to allow flex scheduling much earlier.
Yes.
They need to just be able to flex games out at any time of the year.
Agreed. Totally agree.
But I mean, look, we could be completely wrong, and Zach Wilson could surprise us and become the quarterback that they thought that he could be. Who knows? Maybe this little bit of of Zach Wilson being around a quarterback who's, been there, done that, who's achieved everything that any quarterback can, achieve. It was a first ballot Hall of Famer. This could easily propel this kid to, maybe just even being around him for a little bit, seeing how Aaron Rodgers operates, help mature him and push him on to be a better quarterback. I mean, I didn't see a lot from him last night, but granted, he was thrown into a situation I don't think he was entirely thinking he would be in, of all of a sudden he got to play. I think obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. So now let's see what it's like I'm pretty sure he'll be able to, ask Aaron Rodgers for, advice and stuff, considering, despite the fact that Rodgers probably won't be in the building at all, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to reach out to him. And because as far as I know, they have a good relationship, Wilson and Rodgers do. And let's see. Obviously, it's a big test this week. You got that Dallas defense who, lit it up, but the Jets are super talented, and they just need Zach Wilson to be an average quarterback.
He just has to manage the game. Just don't turn the ball over.
That's the thing. He just has to manage the game.
That's all you got to do.
Get the ball to the playmakers. They obviously to Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and to oh my God, who's their wide receiver again? 17. It's Wilson. Is it Wilson?
Wilson, yeah.
Garrett Wilson. Yeah, Garrett Wilson. That's Wilson to Wilson. And then trust that defense, which, like I said, is a special defense. They are incredible, especially Sauce Gardner and everybody.
Talented on defense too. Yeah,
they're talented on defense, man. Trust that they're going to keep you in games, and all you have to do is just manage the game. That's it. Don't put any more pressure. You don't have to play hero ball. You have to put it on your shoulders. Get it to the playmakers on this team.
And outside of Miami, the rest of that division seems like it could be pretty much up in the air. I mean, I know we'll talk about Miami later, but wow, that was an impressive game for sure. But anyway, I digress. I agree completely with Carlos. He just basically just protect the football. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, obviously that's what every quarterback needs to do. But in this situation, he's got the pieces around him. They could still come out of this and I think have a shot at the postseason. It's not going to be easy by any stretch, but the NFL is weird. If we've noticed if anything is going to continue from week 1, the NFL is going to be kind of wild this season. So wouldn't be surprised if that sort of stuff happens.
Absolutely. The NFL season could be a wild one. And we'll talk about the craziness of week 1 as we continue right here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. All right, welcome back to the Kirby
Fantastic
on
ad
Sports
break. Just
podcast.
immaculate ad break.
Absolutely, Carlos. Thank you very much for that. So, next up on our slate, the season opener. Want to get your thoughts on that one, boys, especially you, Carlos, as Motor City Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions upset the Chiefs. And I don't care what Mike Tirico or Chris Collinsworth says, it's not an asterisk because the Lions came out and played.
Wait, I forgot. What was the quote again? What was their asterisk quote?
They said the game, this win was an asterisk because they didn't have Chris Jones and they didn't have Travis.
No, I disagree.
No, absolutely not. The Lions came out and played good physical football under Motor City Dan Campbell, and that organization is changing from top to bottom, and you saw it from that game. And that's why I had a feeling the Lions could make some noise in this game, and sure enough, they won by a point.
Let's be completely 100% honest here with each other. If the Kansas City wide receivers could actually catch the dang on ball in that game, Kansas City would have won easily.
You know what they say,
but
you
it
can't
didn't
do
happen.
it. Ands, ifs, or buts. They don't matter.
It didn't happen.
They don't matter.
The Lions just took what was in front of them. That's it. They just had either way. It's a win in the win column. There are no asterisks in football.
That's it.
Okay, it's either win or lose. Either way, it's going in your record. It doesn't matter how you won the game. It doesn't matter how you lost the game.
That's it.
Winning a game by 30 does not equal any more in the win column than winning the game by 1. It
tells you more.
Win.
It certainly tells you more. But yeah,
sure, yeah, but you're right. But yeah, no. Listen, Detroit really, I mean, I'm not saying they necessarily like blew me away, but you're right, Kirby. That organization is changing, and they are finally starting to give that fan base something to be excited for.
Absolutely. And you just look there and the Lions mentality and play calling going for a fake punt on what was it the first drive? I think it was either the first or second.
It was in the
drive
beginning of the game.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, gutsy call there, but it worked out. And I mean, obviously, Sean Payton going for an onside kick in Denver, that's something different. Just, just two completely different motives there. But Dan Campbell, I mean, that coaching staff, the Lions are going to make some noise. I just really think that was a good win for them. Obviously, yes, we have to address the fact that Kadarius Toney is no longer on Twitter. I mean, the pick six, that was
Can't
right
let
in
that
his
happen.
hand.
Right in
Not
his
even
hand.
Mahomes' fault.
Look,
Not even Mahomes'
but
fault.
I am going to give Kadarius Toney some grace here because Kadarius Toney did not was not part of training camp. His biggest issue, Kadarius Toney has all the talent in the world, but his biggest issue is availability. He just has not been available, and he literally started practicing the week before the game. So I think with Kadarius Toney, it's more of a case of he hasn't been able to get any reps, and that's an issue. In terms of the other guys, though, somebody's got to step up. Somebody has to take because it can't just be Travis Kelce. And you could definitely tell, like, Patrick Mahomes was missing that security blanket, that guy, that go-to guy that he could depend on, but one of these guys, Sky Moore, needs to do more. The rookie Rice, I mean, he made a couple good plays. But then they started really covering him. And again, Kadarius Toney's the number one. So he needs to be better than that, and I think he will be. I have a lot of faith in Kadarius Toney, but that was an awful performance, terrible performance by him.
Patrick Mahomes is a human after all. Who would have thought? What a surprise! No, I agree with everything you guys have been saying. And yeah, there's no excuse for the Chiefs to lose that game, but you got to give credit to the Lions. They made the plays they had to make to win that game. I don't know if I'm as impressed with the Lions as everybody else is yet. I think give it a couple weeks and I'll let you know. I know last year how they ended the season, very strong finish last year. But you can see how much they really, really love playing for Dan Campbell. There's no question about it. Those players love it. I mean,
I would love playing for Dan Campbell, dude. Playing for Dan Campbell looks like so much fun.
Gonna run through a wall for the guy. I mean, I would too. But yeah, let's pump the brakes on saying, the Lions are legit, because Kirby was saying that in the group chat right after the game. And I'm like, let's just slow down a little bit.
Week one. It's week one.
It's the first
game.
I
think they're going to make a run for the division? I do. I really do. I think that they can.
I think this division, yeah.
The division is there.
This year it's really bad. Yeah.
The division
Put me on full blast, why don't you? I was just hype after that.
Well, listen, we're gonna release.
I just can't stand when people do that. After the game, they make these bold. I'm like, stop.
Especially after week one. I mean, look, all in all, they only won by 1 point. They only won by one, so it's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't necessarily blown away by the Lions. But at least I mean, it was the same thing last year. They were in a lot of their games that they lost.
That's true.
It's just they didn't finish. But now what it's looking like is, okay, now the key thing is finishing. They finished against the Chiefs. They did. Congratulations. You ruined their banner night. You opened the season on primetime, announced yourselves to the world. But you have, it's only one game. We have 16 more to go.
That's it. Yep. And that's why I think Kansas City is going to be fine. It's the same reason, people came out and said, I mean, and not anyone here, obviously, but because obviously Carlos knows better and Kirby knows Mahomes. I mean, we know Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be fine. But I saw people saying, they're frauds. And I mean, that's social media, right? That's kind of what it gets amplified anyway. So, and I'm just like, how can people seriously think?
What the
seriously think the Chiefs are in trouble? It's just idiotic.
It's delusional fans, man.
I just think it's a hiccup. They just have to
It's growing pains, guys. It's growing pains. I mean, look,
It's never going to be perfect. No matter.
work on Tony, however you may, get Sky more involved, and then once Travis Kelce comes back, you should be fine. That's how I see it.
And they'll figure it out. It takes time to get that chemistry, anyways. Especially when you have. I mean,
the good news obviously coming out now is that Chris Jones is now officially back with the team. He got his got a new contract.
Man, they were gashed by the Lions.
But I disagree, Dan. I really disagree with that. I thought the Chiefs defense was outstanding in this game. I really do. Again, think about it. The Detroit Lions, the real reason why they won is because of that pick six. Had they not made that pick six, they would have lost. And then on top of that, if the Chiefs wide receivers would have catch too. But all in all, that Chiefs defense kept the Lions offense in check for most of the game. Sure, yeah. I think at the beginning of the game, they were getting, dash. I mean, Detroit was running all over them at the beginning, but I think that it was the same thing with Dallas in the beginning of the Giants game. They were also getting ran over, but it was about settling into the game. And I really think this Chiefs defense is one of the elite defenses in the league because they played a fantastic game. Patrick Mahomes also played a fantastic game. The only difference is the receivers didn't catch the ball. But I disagree with you thinking that the Chiefs defense was not great in this game.
I just felt like on third downs they could have been better, and especially that's really what
that's fair. That's fair.
You come to expect the Chiefs to be able to get off the field and give Mahomes the ball back. I was disappointed with their third downs, and Chris Jones is on the field. They make a lot of those plays, or at least he helps make a lot of those plays because when you have a great defensive player, sure they're not always in on the tackle, but they take away and they get extra attention, and someone else is able to be freed up and make the tackle. So, that's mainly what my observation was, the fact that the Lions put themselves in a lot of third and medium situations, I felt like, and they converted a lot of times, and it's just not something I was used to seeing with this Chiefs defense. I think they're going to be fine. Don't get me wrong. And I think I was impressed with Detroit, but again, I'm not gonna make any bold predictions about their entire season as a whole in week one because you just don't know. I mean, injuries happen, right? Well, you just saw it with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, is it rare to happen 75 seconds into the game? Absolutely, but anything can happen at any time, and I like Detroit, and look, Dan Campbell he's a great head coach. I mean, you can just see how these players respond to that. Detroit hasn't had that in a long time, if ever, that they've had a coach where you can just feel the strong connection that the coach and the players have. Mm-hmm. And that goes a long way, man. That helps bring guys to your team in free agency. Players you draft want to suit up immediately and go to war, quote unquote, for the team. And I think that's a huge thing for Detroit, and they're going to be a very good, very fun team to watch, especially like Carlos said with that division. I mean, it could be a mess this year, and it really
there
could
for the taking, man. It's there for the taking.
It really is theirs if they have a good season. So, and yeah, Kansas City's going to be fine. I'm not worried. They were definitely rusty. I mean, I think that was a big thing I noticed across the board from them. But they have a proven track record. They're going to be fine, and they'll get it worked out. Andy Reid always does. And
we just got to sometimes cut those like cutesy plays, man. Like
they shoot themselves in the foot in a couple of those.
Yeah, like the Blake Bell like 4th and 1, something like that, or 3rd and 1. I don't remember, short yardage situation. Just hand the ball off to Pacheco or to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like. Mm-hmm. Like, just don't make this harder. Like, I don't understand what they were trying to do. Like, there was a lot of plays that really frustrated me that I hope that they, clean up and understand. They don't have, like, sometimes they try too hard and they don't need to.
Agreed.
Sometimes simple football is the best football.
Totally agree with that. That's perfectly said.
So now let's take a look at another game before we'll touch on one more game before we get to our next break here. But Miami versus the Chargers, I think that probably might have been the most exciting in week 1.
I was like, Kirby, be careful where you go with this. It's only week 1. Don't
Well,
be like,
most
I think
exciting.
I think we just saw game of the season. Oh my goodness! Like I would have been like,
Most
Kirby.
exciting week 1. Am I over exaggerating?
No.
No, it was definitely the most exciting game week 1.
Listen. The Tua to Tyree connection. My goodness.
It is.
Woo!
I have been doing nothing but raving about the game-winning touchdown catch by Tyreek Hill. That pass was absolutely perfect. I have never seen a more perfect pass. The way it fit between the defender and right into Tyreek Hill's hands.
It was unbelievable.
It was beautiful. I mean, look, Tua Tagovailoa, we obviously all were very concerned for him last season with what they claimed 2 concussions. We all think it was 3. And there was a lot of talk of should he retire. Look, Tua is a good quarterback. He's an exciting quarterback. He's very fun to watch. When he's healthy, the Dolphins are a contender. They really are. It's when he's not healthy that's the problem. You can tell when he's not healthy, and then when he's out, the Dolphins just suffer.
They do.
And but this is why they wanted Tua, because in the biggest moments, he does not flinch. This guy did not flinch. And think about it. His introduction to the world was the second half of the national championship where he had to make a comeback and win in overtime against Georgia as a freshman in college.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Coming in for Jalen Hurts, who, is now, maybe one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. But, Tua, I mean, just a great performance by him. And, I mean, the Dolphins they're going to be a major issue this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chargers, on the other hand, I mean, I picked the Chargers because I sort of was concerned, but I know it's still week 1, but looking at what the Dolphins could do, they might be a really good team to look out for an AFC playoff push. But the Chargers, on the other hand, I mean, I think they did.
The Chargers chargered as they normally do.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing changes.
It looked like they were doing some good stuff, but again,
well, they were. They definitely
were. I mean, the Chargers are going to charger.
But listen, this Justin Herbert, excuse my French, ladies and gentlemen, dick riding needs to stop, man. Like,
I was just about to say something similar.
I truly do not understand why the media is so in love with Justin Herbert, despite the fact that he never comes up in the big moments.
Hasn't won a big game. I was just
never
about
won
to
a
say
big
that.
game. Like, why is ever? It was the Josh Allen. It was the Josh Allen effect that was happening last year too. Why they all fall in love with these guys that have no proven track record.
Yep.
Like the media is so in love with Justin Herbert, and I'm like, okay, cool. I can't deny he's a good quarterback. Like he is. He's a super talented quarterback. He's exciting to watch. What has he done though? You guys were up 27-0 on the Jaguars and blew it. Trevor Lawrence has won more than Justin Herbert. And nobody talks about Trevor Lawrence the way they talk about Justin Herbert. Everybody is he's the internet's quarterback. They're so in love with this kid. And granted, he's super talented. He really is. But nothing's changed, man. Like, they brought Kellen Moore in and nothing's changed.
It's the same old Chargers. And I was thinking that at the top of this, and I really wanted to get that off my chest. So thank you, Carlos, for saying it. He hasn't won a big game. He hasn't come through clutch. He's a great quarterback. I have no questions about that. But the elite quarterbacks win important games, put their teams in those positions, and Justin Herbert hasn't done that. And Carlos is right. The way the media just worships the ground this guy walks on, I just don't get it. There's 7 quarterbacks I can think of who are better and in my opinion have won more meaningful games than Justin Herbert, who has won 0 meaningful games. So if you've won 1 meaningful game, you're better than Justin Herbert in that category. So yeah, I have the same feeling as Carlos. It's just frustration. And we're just going to continue for people to say, well, it's coming. It'll happen. He's going to win a big game. And when he wins a big game, it's just going to be insufferable across the board to hear the media and the way they're going to talk about Justin Herbert. But, God, yeah, Tua is an absolute beast. And that touchdown pass, Carlos is right, was maybe one of the best throws I've seen in a long time. I can't think off top of mind of one that was better. So, and in that situation, when you got to have it late in the fourth quarter, just a clutch throw, clutch play. Unlike Justin Herbert, Tua makes the clutch throw to win the football game. And yeah, the Dolphins are definitely going to be one of those top teams in the AFC this year. I think we all thought coming in, if Tua can stay healthy, they can be that. Maybe I should roll back saying that, because I know I said earlier the week 1 predictions, maybe they need to just chill a little bit. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to be right in the thick of it this year with those other top AFC teams. As long as Tua is healthy and he's playing at the top of his game, they're not going to have any issues at all. I think the Chargers are just going to be what they are, and that is a team that is a fringe playoff team. They're going to be a fringe wild card team. They might sneak into the playoffs, and they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's just what the Chargers have done for a long time now. I hope they prove me wrong, because I really want to see Justin Herbert break out. But as of now, it just seems like Carlos said, it's the same old Chargers. They just continue to play this way. And it's incredibly frustrating to continue to watch people just worship them. I'm like, I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But this was a really exciting game. Watching Red Zone as this happened, as this game unfolded, and flipping back to the actual game was so exciting.
Red Zone was so annoying though, because they kept going away from the game, and I'm like, guys, like, this is the game that matters. It's the game
that was more exciting.
Why are we still why do we keep cutting away to Patriots, Eagles? On top of that, my Red Zone was like, for some reason, like very behind. So like I had Patriots, Eagles on my on my other TV, but then on the Red Zone TV, like it was not like
behind.
It kept cutting back, and it kept cutting back to things that I already knew happened. So I was like, get back to the Chargers game. Like, I want to see what happens. This is more important.
They really wanted the Patriots to pull that out, but yeah, it just
I mean, I wanted them to pull it out too, just because,
understandable,
personal bias, Eagles. But
yeah,
but
yeah, it was a great game. And Tua throwing for almost 500 yards, just unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And yeah, he's due for another big season, and I think the Dolphins are too.
Hopefully he can stay healthy.
That's it. Yeah.
I think we touched on it all. The 36-34 Dolphins victory over the Chargers. Before we take another break, just want to give a shout out to my good friends over at Shenandoah Music. Shenandoah Music is here to help your beginning band students with easy and hassle-free online rental processes from shenmusicstore.com. Top quality instruments from all the name brands, plus all their instruments are band director approved. They even partner with local directors to make sure your student is getting the equipment he or she needs to be successful in band class this season. You're listening to Kirby on Sports Podcast. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Hey, sports fans. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Kirby on Sports Podcast with founder and host Josh Kirby, along with lead contributor Dan Demski. Like, subscribe, and give them a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast from. My name is Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation. Our company helps leaders build engaged and productive teams. Exclusively for listeners of the Kirby on Sports Podcast, you can take an opportunity to discover your primary communication style and learn more about effective communication with others. Text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free copy of the Working From Home Communication Assessment, where you'll learn your primary communication style, how to better communicate with others not like you, and tips on working remotely based on your personal communication style. 10 minutes, tons of resources. Learn about yourself and your team. Again, text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free assessment report today. I'm Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, where we help you and your team be more engaged and productive by understanding each other better. Back to you, Josh.
Hey, Kirby on Sports Podcast listeners, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here. You know, it may seem scary or daunting at first to think about buying or selling a home. Well, look no further. Give me a call, 540-247-1527. There's nothing more than I love to do than help my friends make those transactions fun, interesting, and at the end of the day, productive. Look me up online, iconsales.com, and even better, find me on my podcast, Iconic Talk, with my co-host Megan Eanes. On any podcast platform, we will share all the local news about real estate markets and our local community. It's educational. Look us up. We'd love to help you. iconsales.com, 540-247-1527. Josh, back to you.
All right, the three-man booth back with me, the Kirby on Sports podcast, moving right along. We are going to get into the next part of the week 1 episode of the Kirby on Sports podcast. We're going to talk about how we feel about our team's performances this week and then bounce around the league a little bit. Talk about not so in depth, but talking about different games that went on besides the ones we talked about earlier. So, our teams, who wants to start first?
Hey, listen, you're the host, dude. You're going first. We're talking about your Commanders against the Cardinals.
Salute the Commanders.
Well, it was sold out.
Which, by the way, to all Commanders fans, the Kirby on Sports podcast will be coming to you live on Thursday Night Football, October 5th. That's the Commanders take on the Chicago Bears.
That's going to be fun.
That's
going
gonna
to
be
be
a
a
lot
lot
of
of fun.
We'll have a
It'll be
special
good.
guest with us too.
So, anyways, it was sold out. A whole bunch of alumni showed up.
Yeah, Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey,
time.
obviously.
First time since he was traded to Denver.
Yeah. RG3 ran out of the tunnel. Not that
I love this. I really love that this new ownership is trying to make amends with all these legends and stuff and bringing them more into the fold. I really love this.
Well, get this. Mitch Rails, one of the partners for the Commanders, flew his jet out and picked up Sonny Jurgensen.
No, that's
Nice.
cool.
Dan
That's really
Snyder would never.
Never. He would never.
Sonny Jurgensen is a legend. Yeah, that's an awesome gesture.
I mean, obviously, you had Clinton Portis out there. Fred Smoot, he's always there.
Kevin Durant was there.
Yeah,
Kevin
Durant
Durant
was
as well.
there.
Yep.
Durant and Joel Embiid. I'm not sure if you saw on Twitter, but a picture of Durant
Probably
and
not.
Joel Embiid with Josh Harris in the middle.
No, considering Josh Harris is Joel Embiid's boss, he pays Joel Embiid's bills.
Signs and checks. Yeah,
That's not what I'm. That's a good point, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the fact that 2 basketball players and you have like
how short he
you
is.
have the short. Yeah, you have a short. Yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, watching the game, you saw Josh Harris on the field after the game. When's the last time Snyder did that?
when's the
Never,
last time Snyder was ever visible at a game?
never.
Like it's been a while.
Tries to hide from the
AT&T
camera.
Stadium against the Cowboys, but that was probably the last.
That's because his buddy Jerry Jones wanted him to be there. So
Yeah, I guess
yeah.
so.
You're right. You're right.
So
it's a shame.
I think it was a great atmosphere from what I saw. A lot of different alumni. I mean,
It sounded electric. It
Mhm.
sounded electric on TV.
Mhm.
I mean, Charles Mann was there. Dexter Manley was there. I mean, you name it.
There you go.
Most of the alumni
Manley.
showed up and showed out. John Riggins was there.
Oh yeah,
Riggins,
John
gotta be there.
Riggins.
44.
That was great. But I mean, it just looked electric. It sounded electric. But looking on the field, the Commanders are darn lucky they got that win because that was an absolutely pathetic performance.
it's pretty bad.
Pathetic. The O-line, yeah, there's a lot of crap that team needs to clean up. I'm telling you.
Mhm.
The O-line getting 6 sacks on Howell. I mean, what's the deal? And I don't really want to go into it, but Jonathan Gannon thinks he's still coaching in Philly or something, thinking his defense can just cheap shot the Commanders' offense. It's like, come on. And that one guy should have been ejected for the hit, nailing the referee, and then throwing the flag on that. Yeah, even the referee who went down knew that was a foul.
Yeah,
so he threw the
agreed.
flag. But
Most epic flag throw I've ever seen.
there were some bright spots. I mean, obviously, Sam Howell connected on a few good throws, a few mistakes that a young quarterback would make.
Mhm.
But the one thing I can take away from this, and what a lot of other people have also mentioned they're taking away from this as well, is the fact that after an interception and fumble, how Sam Howell responded. And
I mentioned that. I mentioned it. I mentioned it in the group chat. I was like, that was a great bounce back by Sam Howell.
yes, you did. I'm sorry, you did mention that.
I did
He
mention that.
bounced back. It was like he was unfazed, and they got the win. But obviously, it's the Cardinals.
They made it so much harder than it needed to be, man. Like, this should have been a game where you guys like blew them out.
Well, against the Cardinals, it was tough.
Could be winless, those Cardinals.
Against other teams in the league, we wouldn't get that opportunity. They pounce all over our mistakes, the Commanders' mistakes, and they would not get an opportunity.
I can't wait for Thanksgiving. I really can't wait for Thanksgiving. That O-line is going to be served with a nice side of gravy.
Yeah, it will be.
But Eric Bieniemy, I didn't like his play calling. I really didn't. They were pass happy, did not run the football a lot. Antonio Gibson needs to protect the football, but
he's got Pat Mahomes out there still.
Yeah, I guess he thinks he's working with Patrick Mahomes still. You gotta get it balanced, but I think it's just gonna take time.
Growing pains, man. Growing pains. Just remember, this is growing pains. Brand new quarterback. Brand new system.
There are a lot of adjustments this Commanders team needs to make going into Denver at 4:25 this Sunday. So
dude,
it's going to be
they're gonna cut into my Cowboys Jets game like I'm gonna have to get red zone. I'm not red zone, I'm sorry, Sunday ticket. I'm gonna have to. Like I'm gonna have to.
But a win's a win, but a lot of mistakes that they need to clean up. And after the game, if you didn't see it, Ron Rivera gave yet another game ball to Josh Harris. So now he has 3. The first preseason win, the first home preseason win, and then the first regular season win.
He's just hoping to buy him extra time.
It lost its luster.
He's just hoping to buy him some extra time to get fired.
Get Ron Rivera out of the building, please. Okay.
He's a stooge, man.
God,
I'm sorry. He's a stooge.
I'm just surprised he didn't give the game ball to Josh Harris for the Commanders Super Bowl against the Ravens at FedEx Field.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Hey, you're lucky you went to that game club level, right, Dan?
I'm so blessed. Yeah. No, they were mostly happy that Dan Snyder was gone. I will say, but even still, Ron Rivera, he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. He needs to go. Like, come on. Is
he worst coach in the league right now? Like, I think Ron Rivera is good.
He's got to be up there.
I don't know. If Washington does not have any form of success this season, he's got to
go.
He's gone.
He's got to go. Yeah, I agree.
But
yeah, hey, you said it. A win is a win. I mean,
a win is a win, boys. A win is a win.
Every team's got stuff to clean up. That's
I'm gonna make a confession. After seeing this win and seeing what Dallas did to New York on Sunday night, I'm not looking forward to Thanksgiving.
That's spanking coming. It's coming.
I'm licking my chops, dude. That O-line looks juicy for Micah Parsons. The Lion is gonna pounce on the
my fantasy team stacked with Dallas's defense all year. Ooh,
yeah,
34 points, baby.
Listen,
got 40 in the league.
Let's be honest. I mean, all right, we'll talk about Dallas when we get to Dallas. But anyways, go.
But that's about all I have. Just on to Denver for the Commanders. Get a little bit better, adjust the play calling, because I think Eric Bieniemy thinks that Sam Howell's Patrick Mahomes, but I don't know. Yeah,
taking my lines. That's what you do. You take my lines. Come on, man.
Well, let's just see how it goes. I mean, I haven't seen enough regular season Bieniemy,
I
but
still haven't seen enough of Sam Howell. That's all I'm saying. I haven't seen enough. It was a very average performance.
yeah.
I'm not confident in him, but that's just me. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, but yeah, I just
I don't know,
think-
man. These Commanders fans have been hyping Sam Howell up all
I
season.
know it.
Every single time I talk to Commanders fans, it's Sam Howell. He doesn't have to be good. He just has to be average. And this team is going to win the division. I'm not saying, and this is not Kirby. Kirby is not the one saying
No, he's a
Okay.
realist. He's a
Thank you.
realist.
Now,
Thank you
does
very
he
much.
hype up Sam Howell? Yes, but it's not like that where, he just like, no. Like, I literally had a conversation with a Commanders fan, and it was the most frustrating thing in the world.
I just
I was like,
see it.
what the hell are you talking about? Like, you guys beat a Dallas team that didn't care. They were already in the playoffs. Like, who cares? But that's besides the point. It was a mid performance. I mean, I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't like. I mean, I was. What's the word I'm looking for here? I was. Oh, it's gonna bother me if I don't think of this word. I was in
Midwhelmed.
midwhelmed. No.
Just made that
Oh
up.
my God! So somebody say something while I think of the word.
Well,
I was indifferent. I was indifferent towards him. There we go. Look at that.
I feel
Came
the
to me.
same way. Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right,
I think it's a young team that's gonna have some growing pains, and I think you're right about Eric Bieniemy's play calling. It's
Trade Chase Young.
Why are you still paying
Yeah.
Chase Young?
Yeah, well, why is that's even
We're going off on
another
so many
story.
tangents right now. We need
I mean,
We were
Chase
supposed to
Young.
keep this brief, but you
yeah,
know,
we're supposed to keep
it
this brief,
never
but we're
is.
not keeping this brief. But go on. Let's finish this tangent.
I
Let's
don't
finish
know.
this one.
I don't know what the deal is. He's injured again.
Always hurt.
No,
I
he's
mean-
cleared. He's cleared for physical contact, but the doctors decided to pull him. Like he's cleared,
I
but
don't
yet
know.
he's not cleared. It makes no sense.
Well,
He's
it
not
looked
expected
like
to play
Kane-
week 2.
that defensive line stepped up in the second half for the
Yeah, because they've
Commanders.
played without him before, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
they don't
just
need
good.
him.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Anyway.
All right,
that-
all right.
that's it.
Let's move on. Whose team is next?
I'll just go real quick. I mean,
right.
I'm not going to go on too long.
My condolences to J.K. Dobbins. It sucked
It's
battling
awful.
back.
But it's unfortunately it's kind of been similar to Chase Young, although probably worse because he's had now 2 season-ending injuries. It's just unfortunately kind of been his luck since he's been a Baltimore Raven. And they're going to have to find a way to win without him. They had to do it last year, so it is what it is at this point. Next man up, and I know they promoted Melvin Gordon, which I'm like, oh God, why Melvin Gordon? No, please. Played in the preseason and was not good at all. So maybe he will be a second or third option. I think that's kind of what he's going to be, just as some insurance. But no, I think in general the Ravens offense was similar to how other quarterbacks have been. Lamar didn't play at all in the preseason. The rust was there. He made some throws, but he also made some bad throws as well. It's going to take a couple weeks, I think, for him to get back into playing at football speed, especially with these receivers like Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham. I think the offense is going to be fine. Defensively, I was impressed with once again the Ravens just getting after a very young, scared, and inexperienced quarterback who kind of has been thrown into the situation. And I think I think in general the Ravens are going to be fine. I know 25-9. You look at the scoreboard and you say, well, that's a pretty impressive win. But offensively, I think they got a lot of stuff to clean up. They got to be able to run the football more effectively. And I just think Lamar needs to get more decisive and get back into making those quick decisions because he kind of was once again. And again, he hasn't played in a long time, so I'm cutting him a lot of slack here. But there was a lot of him sort of not being committed to either throwing or running the ball, and I felt like there was a lot of sloppiness on that side of the football. I will say the positive thing is we played the Texans. Our defense was about as solid as they could have been, and they made life miserable for CJ Stroud. And I kind of felt bad for him, man. They were they were just blitzing him like crazy and hitting him all the time. And yeah, so the defense was about as impressive as they could have been. And once again, the Ravens banged up not just J.K. Dobbins, but but Ronnie Stanley got hurt at one point.
Never ends, man. It never ends.
That guy's always hurt. They had a couple other players as well get hurt, but I don't think their injuries are very serious. Ronnie Stanley he's another example of a guy who he's just never on the field. He's constantly hurt. And I think, obviously his injury, someone rolled up on his ankle. So that happens when you're an offensive lineman, but it just seems like it's so unlucky. It always happens to the Ravens offensive linemen more than any other team. So that's my big takeaway is just like, God, we need to stay healthy. Like we can't have this injury bug starting in week 1. It's just miserable. So I think that's the big thing for me as we head into this big game on Sunday against Cincinnati. Going to be a huge game. And Cincinnati wants revenge from their poor performance in week 1. I'm sure we're going to touch on that. But I think the Ravens defensively, they're going to be in good shape. I just need to see the offense just shake off the rust. I mean, the chemistry will develop over time. It's just people expected it to be immediate. And it's like Lamar hasn't played in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't thrown the football to Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham.
Yeah, that connection with Zay Flowers is pretty dope. It was pretty dope.
Pretty good. When they connected, it's gonna work. And
I told you, Dan. I told you, Zay Flowers. He's a guy I wish was on the Dallas Cowboys.
Very happy.
That kid is he's really good.
He's gonna be really good.
Really good.
And similar to Washington, got a brand new system with Todd Monken, so Lamar and the entire offense trying to get used to that as well. It's going to take a couple games.
Hey, Lamar, can we learn how to maybe hold the ball closer to your body instead of
he's
it out
always
here?
done that.
It's so frustrating watching him run, and he's got the ball out here, and I'm like, dude, someone just has to swipe at it, and it's a fumble, and that's what happened. Somebody swiped on it, and luckily the Ravens recovered. But bro, when you're running, tuck it in. Tuck it in.
He's always done that, and it's definitely anxiety inducing when he runs the football a lot of times. But I'm sure they had a conversation with him like, come on, at this point in your career, we just paid you all this money. You have to protect the football, and it's one thing if you fumble the ball and you're just tucking it normally, but I mean to hold it out like that is just asking for a turnover.
Out here, man,
inexcusable. That's inexcusable at that stage, but. I'm not worried about the Ravens. I think they'll be fine, especially because of the way I saw. I mean, Cincinnati's going to bounce back. We know that. But the way I saw Pittsburgh play, I mean, obviously, that was a joke. So, and Cleveland, I think Cleveland's going to be about a 500 football team. That's just going to be what they are. So, I still think the Ravens, the division is open for them to take it this year. I know Cincinnati's going to pose the biggest challenge. So Sunday's game is really going to go a long way in telling us what direction that's going to go this season. And I want to see the defense continue to dial up that pressure because it's a thing of beauty when they got after CJ Stroud and just kept making his life miserable. Joe Burrow's not CJ Stroud though. We know this. And obviously Cincinnati's got way more weapons than Houston. So it's going to be a big barometer for the Ravens on Sunday.
I got no comments.
Yeah, I agree.
That was well said. Well said.
And I still love Justin Tucker, obviously.
The GOAT.
The best. He's the
I saw
best.
somebody with a Justin Tucker jersey at the store on Sunday.
That is so rare to see
awesome.
jerseys.
It was awesome. I was like, oh, the GOAT.
Mr. Martinez.
I almost bowed at him. Is it that time?
It is that time.
Well, I will keep it brief. How about them Cowboys? Okay. Listen, I'm not overreacting over a week 1 performance. It was a good performance.
What a darn good defense. Holy cow.
What a great defense. We pulled the hat trick. We scored offensively, defensively, and on special teams. Blew them out by 40. I mean, what else is there to say, man? Dallas is who we thought they were going to be this season. They are a legitimate, contender this year. And I think this is one of the most talented Dallas teams in a few years, and it'll be interesting to see. Obviously now they don't have to play against Aaron Rodgers. So realistically they should beat the Jets, not handily. I think the Jets will pose a lot more problems than the Giants did. But I still expect Dallas to win, especially considering it's our home opener. The Giants talked a lot. Their fan base talked a lot, and they were surprisingly, they were the ones saying this is going to be our year to win the division, yada yada this, yada yada that. And then we saw they were the most one-dimensional team ever because Daniel Jones cannot pass to anybody because they have nobody to pass it to aside from Darren Waller.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
it.
I'm sorry, but after week 1, I don't want to make harsh conclusions, but is Daniel Jones worth that contract he just got paid?
Look, I'm not going to put this loss entirely on Daniel Jones because I don't think it's Daniel Jones's fault. I really don't. That offensive line was
bad everywhere.
god awful.
Yeah.
They they had no pride in defending this man. And at the same time, also take the guy out when the game is out of reach.
Killed out there. He's getting
He
killed.
was getting murdered for no reason. Even Micah Parsons was starting to feel bad for what they were doing to this man.
Yep.
The Bengals took Joe Burrow out of that Browns game because they just knew it. They were like, look, you just don't have it. You just don't have it today. Let's survive another day. Let's get back to work, whenever it is they come back, and we'll start again anew. I don't know what they were trying to do. Daboll, that was one of his worst decisions there. You got to protect your guy. You're only going to go as far. I mean,
he's your franchise quarterback.
Are you really going to rely on Tyrod Taylor here? Like,
what are you doing?
I even put it in the group chat. I was even starting to be like, yo, this is like really ugly to look at. Like watching Daniel Jones get hit over and over again. I'm feeling
rough.
bad for the guy.
Yep.
And look, this defense was so stout. Just the addition of Stephon Gilmore, aka Ty Dolla $ign, because he looks just like him, has shown why it is so important to have a good second cornerback. Because like that was the thing, is like last season, Diggs would shut down his side, but we were going through injuries and stuff, and the other side was always wide open, and it was really hard for our secondary. Just having Stephon Gilmore gives the defense more time to get to the quarterback. And Micah Parsons, dude, come on, man. Micah Parsons is an alien, dude. He's an alien. And I do have to also give Diggs his credit too. Diggs, I mean, man, the fumble, and now he's actually hitting the running backs. I think they really made it a point because there was a lot of criticism last year that he was too afraid to hit guys. I think Gilmore really helped him be like, you got to hit these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And, offensively, there's not much to say offensively. Dallas didn't need to do anything crazy offensively. So for people being like, pointing out that Dak only had 147 yards passing,
they won 40
touchdowns.
Who gives a crap?
Bro, we didn't need it. we didn't need like we won by 40. We're really doing this? Like, I really hate the double standard that Dak Prescott gets as a quarterback than say like a Josh Allen gets. Josh Allen threw 3 interceptions, and he's still not getting murdered the way Dak Prescott is getting criticized for not throwing a touchdown and for not throwing an interception. It's like, dude, we didn't need to. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. I really hate that. I hate the double standard on Dak Prescott. I think this is gonna be a big season for Dak. I really do. But yeah, I'm very happy with the state of the Cowboys. I'm not going to talk about the Chiefs because we already talked about the Chiefs. But yeah, I'm happy with where we're at.
I think what's most impressive is Dak didn't play his best game and they still won 40-0, and he didn't even.
Because again, he didn't need to, and of course the weather also played a factor. I mean, It was really gross out there.
Yep, and
just looking at this
domination, to put it lightly.
Just looking at this, do we think the Giants just had an off game, or are they just?
I don't think they're that good. I really don't think they're that.
I don't want to make any conclusions yet, but I didn't have them. I didn't have them getting to the playoffs again this year. I think the schedule is much tougher. I don't think they have the talent yet to really compete at the level that they competed at last year. I mean, last year, let's be honest, the NFC East had a very cookie cutter schedule, every team, but now we're playing a lot of big dogs, and I think it'll be a lot harder for the Giants to, really do anything. I mean, they're going to win a couple games
in that division. So
they're going to win a couple games here and there for sure. But I don't see them getting back to the playoffs now.
I just don't get why you pay Daniel Jones all that money. I just don't.
I mean,
get it.
where else were they going to go? Like, where else were you going to go? You needed a quarterback. And honestly, again, at market rate, Daniel,
I know
that's a deal. It's not a lot of money in terms of like, again, when you're looking at
ridiculous thing about it.
Yeah, when you're looking at what Joe Burrow's getting, and
well, Burrow's at least his one stuff. I mean, Kirk Cousins. What has Kirk Cousins done? I mean, his is
Kirk Cousins has been a solid quarterback, though.
His is low now. Yeah,
he's been a solid quarterback, and again, honestly, like comparatively, his contracts aren't actually worth as much as say what other quarterbacks' contracts are now.
Because his were a couple years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago now. I can't remember how long ago, but yeah.
It was a hard game to watch for the typical.
I mean, okay, when did you guys tap out?
Like halftime.
Dan,
somewhere in the third quarter.
Yeah, me too. Somewhere in the third quarter, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to my room, put it on, but I'm not gonna really pay attention. This game is done.
I think after it was 33-0, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I was. This is the first Sunday in a long time where I was not stressed after the game.
You shouldn't have been.
Because considering, again, the last 2 games were against Tampa Bay. The first one was obviously a thriller, and we lost, and it is what it is. But, like, I was still very optimistic after that game. I really loved what I saw from the Cowboys that year. And then last year was doom and gloom, man. It was so bad. I never felt that way. And then, obviously Dak Prescott broke his thumb and everything.
Yeah.
It was nice to finally have a game where it was like, at halftime, I was like, oh, we're good. Like, I'm not even stressing anymore.
I wish I knew that feeling, but I have had it only a couple times. But it is a great thing when it comes around. You gotta taste that and soak that in when it does happen.
All right, boys, it's now time to take a bounce around the rest of the league, week 1 action, before we get to our picks for this upcoming week 2. So this is going to be very short, very brief, not a lot of detail, but just bouncing around some games. Starting Jaguars Colts, one of the rookie quarterbacks who made his debut, Anthony Richardson, he goes out with an injury. So the Jags.
I mean, has anybody heard anything? I don't think.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't think the injury was anything serious.
I don't think so either. I think it was like. I don't even know what they said, but
let me see if there's any updates.
Just touching on this game due to the fact that
I mean, look, really quickly, that the Trevor Lawrence Calvin Ridley connection is going to be special, and I knew it from the jump when they made that trade.
Absolutely,
Trevor Lawrence is slowly becoming the superstar quarterback we all thought he was going to be, and I love that because I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I've obviously been watching him since he was at Clemson, and watching him, here in the NFL and seeing him succeed makes me really happy because I really like Trevor Lawrence. And I love that he, at the end of the game, he gave, Anthony Richardson some advice and said, hey man, like you need to protect yourself. Like you have to protect yourself because.
And he knows.
Yeah. You can only take so many hits.
He knows.
You can only take so many. And, you gotta, the best ability is availability, and to be available, Anthony Richardson showed some stuff. And, yeah, I really love that Trevor Lawrence did that for him, and hopefully, he takes Trevor's advice.
Yeah, I got nothing to add. It is really cool to watch how Trevor Lawrence has really becoming a star quarterback in front of our eyes. I mean, we all knew he could be there, but yeah, and Jacksonville is going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think. So watch out.
And one more point, the Colts. New head coach, one of the new head coaches from the Eagles, Shane Steichen. So, I'm not sure if anybody dove deep in depth. Did you like just play calling anything, or?
I got nothing.
I don't really care. Right. I mean, look, nobody's expecting the Colts to do much this season. So,
all right. Briefly, Falcons, Desmond Ridder, quarterback, Bryce Young for the Panthers. They beat
Dude,
the
skip
Panthers
this game,
24
man.
to
This game, like, who cares? Skip this freaking game.
Well,
Yeah.
Bryce Young, another
No,
rookie
who
quarterback,
cares? It was an
Frank Reich.
awful quarterback performance. Move on by both of them.
Yeah.
Move
And
on.
Frank Reich's the head coach. We're moving on. You don't really care, Carlos, but Baker Mayfield beat the Vikings, the Bucks.
Oh yeah.
No, you wanted to make it you wanted to make it a key point in this show. You wanted us to spend 30 minutes talking about the Vikings Bucks, and I'm like, why are we talking about
It's
Baker
because
Mayfield?
Anytime Kirk Cousins loses, he gets to bask in the glory. It's just how he is.
But the Buccaneers beat the Vikings 20-17. I mean,
Yeah, it's
Cool. I don't really have much to add, honestly.
Did you like Mayfield's performance? Do you think he fits in well with Tampa Bay?
It wasn't anything. It didn't blow me away.
It was fine. It was fine.
mid. It was a mid performance. You know, I think the thing is
I always felt like the Browns screwed up letting him go, but that's just my
mean,
opinion.
I guess that remains to be seen depending on how Deshaun Watson works out. But
I guess that's true.
I think the key thing is how long is Justin Jefferson going to put up with this?
That's a good point. That is a really good point.
I mean, he did sign. He's looking to get the mega extension, become one of the highest paid wide receivers in the game. But again, Kirk Cousins doesn't pull through when you need him most. And
they also couldn't run the ball either. 34 yards.
It happens when you Dalvin Cook.
Terrible, just terrible. So that's a big part of it too. I think the Vikings will.
The Vikings defense is also not great. So that's what concerns me too. That's why
put up a lot of big numbers this year.
I'm not. And again, last season was an anomaly. They won a lot of one-score games. They lost this. They lost. Always. They literally won every one-score game.
Every single one.
That's not normal. That's an anomaly. And they were in a one-score game here and they already lost. So this season's going to be vastly different already than last season.
Absolutely. Moving on really quickly, it does not look like the Titans are going to have a good season. They lost to Derek Carr and the Saints 16-15.
Look, again, let's not overreact over week one. I just don't know if Tannehill has it anymore, man.
I don't think so either.
But it's okay, who do you turn to? Malik Willis? Is Malik ready yet?
He might have to be.
Malik was actually being talked about being cut. And obviously Will Levis is their third emergency quarterback, but I'm pretty sure he's injured. So he's not really available. And God, please don't put the guy who puts mayo in his coffee in the game. It's so disgusting.
It's a sin. It's a total sin.
It's fucking white people shit. Excuse my French.
All right.
You're totally right, by the way.
I'm not wrong. Who does that?
Totally white. I mean, right. Totally white.
Okay. The 49ers.
Wait, hold on. But we did.
Are we going over every game? Is this?
Yeah, we don't need to go over every game, but
okay.
I think we're about to touch the last one, but let's touch on the Saints real quick, and talk about Derek Carr. I like it. I mean, I'm not saying I think the Saints are going to win the division. I do.
Yeah, I think they're clearly the best and most veteran team that's out there. So yeah, I'd say they get the best chance. Every other team is kind of rebuilding in that division. So and or a mess. So yeah.
All right. Moving on, just the scores.
Excitement. Sheesh.
The 49ers clobber the Steelers 30-7.
I love it. I love it so much. Stairway to 7, boys. Let's go.
The 49ers are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Brock Purdy was unreal.
Very good. Very good.
It's like a video game out there.
In the next game, I think Aaron Rodgers transferred ownership of the Bears to Jordan Love and Aaron Jones.
Dude,
as they beat the Bears,
you recycled this line too much. You recycled it too much. It lost its luster.
It's not shining like it used to. That's for sure.
And
good job on Jordan Love. Good job.
I agree.
And Matt LaFleur. LaFleur.
I think Jordan Love looks good.
I thought he looked good last season in the couple games that he got to play.
Yeah, he was decent.
I thought he looked great. I think Jordan Love is going to be a good quarterback. I do.
I agree.
I don't even want to talk about the Raiders Broncos. That just looked like
It's not a pretty game. Yeah.
not
Yeah,
a pretty
but
game.
surprisingly, you can't put that loss on Russell Wilson.
For once.
He actually played well. It's
Why
just
do
the
you
defense-
onside kick it on the first game of the
Because
season?
it's Sean freaking Payton, man. He did it
He
in the
thought it-
Super Bowl.
He thought it was the
could do it
Super Bowl.
again.
He thought he was playing the Colts. Yeah.
You thought it was the Super Bowl.
I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else we need to touch on.
Eagles, Patriots, Tom
Oh.
Brady. Robert Kraft waived the 4-year waiting period, and Tom Brady will enter the Patriots Hall of Fame.
I mean, he is the Patriots Hall of Fame.
He needs.
There is no bigger player in Patriots history than Tom Brady.
I agree, and if there's something more than a statue, he needs it. I mean,
He needs a statue at that stadium. He needs a statue
all the things
there,
he did for that organization,
and he needs to go in the Hall of Fame like next year. Like
Yeah.
we shouldn't
And he
even wait.
ran out onto the field and was like, "Let's go!" Like
Yeah,
he's used to. That
I'm
was
sorry.
pretty cool.
His jersey, like I know his jersey's like special, like because that's his actual game worn jersey.
Yeah, that's
So
the old
it's the
school
one that's
Patriot.
specially like tailored that he liked having it like altered or whatever. It looks so weird when it's not on pads. It looks so weird.
yeah.
It just does not look right. But again, it's because it's altered. So like, yeah, it makes sense. But cool.
Yeah, it was cool watching that because I hated the Patriots for years, obviously, but you got to respect what he did for that franchise, and in my opinion, he should have retired a Patriot, but that's just me. But I know
Yeah, he should have at least signed like the 1-day contract.
the 1-day
inside
thing
the
and
Patriot,
finish with them.
but
Yeah,
I guess to him that doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
everybody
Like-
won't. Everybody's gonna know him as a Patriot, and he had
Exactly.
he had a hot boy summer down in Tampa.
that's
It-
pretty
What
good.
it was.
Hot boy.
It's still funny because I never deleted that graphic you made of Tom
Why
Brady
do we
from the.
always talk about this graphic every time? Let's move on. Come on. Let's
In
go.
his defense, it was a damn good graphic.
It's a damn good
It
graphic.
was.
but we don't have to bring it up every time.
It was. That's why I'm sorry that it happened that way, Carlos.
Well,
But
it is what it is. It's up there.
That
for the
is all
history.
of week one. That is all of week one. We can only look forward to the next week ahead, week 2. And when we come back, we will give you their losing picks and my winning picks. We'll be right back.
Hey boys. Hey boys. Hey
It's
boys.
the other
hey,
way
hey,
around.
Hey boys. Hey boys. Hey boys. Hey boys. Hey boys. You know what's my favorite Super Bowl? The next one. Go to break.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
All right, we're back. Josh Kirby, the weapon Dan Demski, the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. It is now time to get into our picks for week 2. We picked a select few games, and Carlos has it up. We have the Bengals, Ravens, Cowboys, Jets, Chiefs, Jags, Vikings, Eagles, Seahawks, Lions, Browns, Steelers.
Notice some
I'm
differences
2
in
and 4. I suck. Dan's 3 and 3. He's gonna lose all 5. And Carlos, he's gonna lose all 5, and I'll be in first place. by the
Okay,
end of
you
it.
do realize that if I lose all 5, you also lose. Like
Yeah,
we literally have
same.
mostly the same picks, aside
Same.
from the Ravens.
Yeah, you picked the Bengals, bud.
Yeah, I did because I wanted to be different than you two.
I could see Cincinnati winning that game.
I don't
think it's a toss up. It's a division
Dude,
game.
we have 3 games where we're all picking the same team. Like if
Yeah.
I would have picked the Ravens, like it would have been 4.
Yeah.
Where's the parity here? You know?
Agreed.
Some of these are obvious because, obviously what happened, like the Cowboys Jets. I thought that was going to be more exciting to pick, but obviously with what happened.
Yeah.
But, listen, Kirby, week 1 just proved that as much as things have changed, nothing's changed at all. You still suck at picking games.
I'm gonna get better. We're doing this the whole season.
I'm gonna get better. You're 2-4.
The punishment is still waiting from last season.
1 week.
It's still waiting. Those pancakes are getting hot over here.
Yeah, we'll be up there to do that in the Northern Virginia here soon.
Dude,
you're gonna keep stalling, and you're
gonna
keep
stalling. We've been saying that for
Come on, let's
years.
plan it.
It's been years, my dog.
It's been
years.
All right,
I'm
we'll
ready.
plan it after this. All right,
We'll plan it after this.
because that's 2 seasons worth of losing you paid for too.
You have to pay for that. Also, are we doing punishments this year?
I
know winner gets belt.
I don't know. Maybe not this year.
We're just having fun with it.
No, I want to do a punishment, but I think we need to do a different type of punishment. Something. I don't know.
I know, Carlos. If you get last place, you have to wear a Commander's jersey. That's your punishment
on the draft show, and I have to wear it the whole time. The whole show, I have to wear it.
Oh man.
For Dan, I don't know what Dan. What's for Dan?
Pittsburgh. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
that'd be too easy.
All right, let's take one for
wear a Red Sox jersey for Dan.
Which one of us is gonna buy a Red Sox jersey? I'm not buying one.
No. Maybe on one of those cheap, sketchy websites, but yeah, not. I'm not
credit card information.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
This is something we could discuss. Offline.
Yeah.
But I think for sure, my punishment will be wearing a Commander's shirt. Ooh! I got it. Because I like to have fun. I will wear a Commander's jersey during the draft show, and I have to do the Hot Ones challenge during the draft show.
Ooh.
There we go.
That's how confident I am that I'm gonna freaking win,
All right.
and I'm gonna be carrying that new belt into the show.
I believe it. I believe you will.
Dan, you're my only competition here, man. I need you to be a little more confident in yourself.
Well, that's why I picked the Vikings, and I wanted to be a little. I figured you guys would pick the Eagles, so.
Well, I mean, it was the obvious choice. I'm also kind of playing defense here because I've built myself a little bit of a lead.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes, but there are picks.
Hold up. We have audio listeners. Not everybody's seeing this visually. So
that's true.
That's what I was about to say, man.
Well, you're making it like we're moving on. Those are our picks.
Dude,
and when you say that usually means you're about to close it down.
We gotta tailor to all platforms here, bud.
I don't know, man. Sometimes you're a very forgetful guy sometimes,
Carlos, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm the host making sure everybody's tailored to their platforms here.
Everyone's tailored.
Not everybody has YouTube that they watch this on. Not everybody can see my beautiful face.
All right, let's just go ahead and tell them our picks.
Jesus Christ.
Kirby, Dan, and Carlos going the Bengals and the Ravens. I am picking the Ravens. Dan is picking the Ravens.
I have no choice.
Contractually obligated to.
Contractually obligated to always pick the Ravens.
Carlos is picking the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys versus the Jets.
Let me just say this. Okay, for the next 2 games, we all pick the same. I, of course, am contractually obligated to pick the Cowboys. And then we have the Chiefs-Jaguars. I'm also contractually obligated to take the Chiefs. We all took the same teams. We all took the Cowboys and Chiefs to beat their team.
Yes. Makes it easier. And then the Vikings, Eagles. Myself and Carlos picked the Eagles, and Dan picked the Vikings.
Vikings are due for a bounce back. This is
the Seahawks and Lions. Myself and Carlos picks the Lions. Dan picks the Seahawks.
I was gonna pick the Seahawks, but those injuries to the line scared me, man. They lost both their tackles. You got Hutchinson coming in. Yeah, I had to go with the Lions.
And the Browns and the Steelers, we all picked the Browns.
Watch the
Crazy.
Steelers win this one, man. They're
Probably.
gonna win this one.
It's
And
an
I'm gonna be
AFC
so
North
frustrated with
game.
it.
Yeah, it's going to be. I could see the Steelers bouncing back. I know I'd love to write them off early in the season, but to think the Browns could be 2-0 just is wild to me. Just wild to me. But
All right, Carlos,
Sad
did I
reality.
miss anything for our audio platform listeners there?
do we go over our records? I think we did that at the top.
Yeah. Again, I
Yeah.
am currently, as the reigning defending champion, still in first after week 1 in first place at 4-2. Dan, who was the runner-up and former champion because he won the first year we did the Pick'ems challenge, is 3-3. And Kirby, the 2-time loser, is losing once again at 2-4.
Yep.
Oh, it's a chance to turn it around, Kirby.
That
Listen,
about sums it up.
Hey, we still got we got this week, and then we got 15 more after that.
That's it. There's plenty of
I'm
time.
looking forward to it.
Is it
I am
15 or is
looking
it
forward
16?
to it.
No, it's 18 weeks, right?
18 weeks, yeah.
It's 18 weeks, so we got 16 more weeks after this.
Mhm.
Dude, I'm hype. I'm just ready for the rest of the season with you all for sure. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a fun one. And again, I'm thankful I get to do it with the 3-man booth.
That was very heartfelt. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think.
See, Carlos doesn't like that heartfelt crap.
I don't know what to. I didn't know what you wanted me to say. Did you want me to
Carlos, I
Did you want me to be the
appreciate-
heel? Did you want me to be regular Carlos? Which one did you want me to be here?
No, I'm just
Mr.
thanking you
Carlos.
for all the hard work you do.
I do
Because you're a legend too.
I am a legend. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I'm also the champion.
Absolutely.
Let us not forget that.
Never
time.
forget it. Never forget. I haven't brought the belts out in a while, but that's just because I haven't felt like bringing them out.
Well, thank you for that, because yeah, just thanks.
I haven't brought them out in a while, but now I feel like I need to start bringing them out again.
Oh, boy.
All right. For our sponsors, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage and Shenandoah Music, along with Don't Sleep Energy. We have a new promo code, KOS Podcast, for 12% off your entire order
12%. This is a steal.
It is.
for both Amazon and Don'tSleepEnergy.com. They have a new merch line as well, so go check them out. Support Don't Sleep Energy. It's really great, and they do great stuff over there at Don't Sleep Energy, and proud to have them as the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Check us out on KirbyOnSports.com, all streaming platforms, all listening platforms. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, get a 5-star rating. For Carlos Martinez, Dan Demski, I'm Josh Kirby. Until next week, we say so long and peace out.
Tony!